JSP implicit objects yesterday, right? And we have seen something called request, right? Till request for reading the parameters which we have and all, mapping it to different objects, right? Now so we'll start up, we'll just move on to the next one. We have something called response, right? So this response implicit object, which is an object of type HTTP servlet response, and this is used to move from the existing JSP to the next resource, right? To the next JSP or next servlet as such, right? So let us see how we can actually move. So we have created JSP page 1, right? So we have these things, which is our index and JSP page 1. So from JSP page 1 we were reading something. Let me run this project once. Start the server and just give me a second, guys. Yeah, so so I just started the server now. So let me browse on this page. So this was my page. So when I select something, right, go. Okay, so this was my page anyways, right? This was my second page as such. Now what we'll do, we'll just see how we can actually move from this page, which is my next page, to some other resource actually, right? So for that, we, as I said, we will be using something called response object. Response is something which is a HTTP servlet response type of object, and we'll be using this same as where we use something called in servlets, right? We use this to actually move on from one servlet to other servlet by using some object called response dot. We have something called send redirect. So we'll be using the same thing here. So let me create a new JSP here. It is called as page 2, right? So in this page 2, let us say I'm just saying that I'm in page 2. So what we'll do, we'll go to page 1 now. So at the top, what we'll do here, so we just want to move from this page to some other page. So what we can do, we can just write and script it here, because we are going to write some code which is a servlet code, right? So you have a response dot send redirect. So we have already seen this part, right, in servlets. So this is same over here also, right? So we can give a page here, which is page 2, let us say. Now what happens is, when I run this so when I run this server, right, and when I actually try to access this code, so what happens, it will directly go to the page which is my page 2, right? Because here what I'm doing, so as soon as it enters into this, I'm just saying that you have to go to that page, right? So let me run this once. Let me start the server. Page here. Let me take up something, some password, click on go, right? So now you can see it directly went to page 2, right? It directly went to page 2 as such. So we have to mention here send redirect to some actual page, right? You have to give the JSP anyways, right? So let's go back here, click on go, right? Now you can see it will go to the next page. So response.redirect, right? It will directly, whenever the call comes to this part, right, it will directly act on this, because this is same as you are actually bypassing your page 1 and you want to move to some thing else. So that's what happens here, right, when you use something called response.redirect, right? So in this response.redirect, so why do we use these things is to bypass some of the page attributes. Let us say you want to create a medium, right, where you want to redirect to two pages, right? You can actually do that using this on the fly, right? Basically, how do we actually move from one page to other pages? You can actually create an anchor element. So let us create an anchor element first. Let me just comment this out. First, let me create an anchor element here and just say href right, of my page 2, right? Just say go here, right? So when I do this, so let's see how it is painted here. Let me just refresh this page. Start and go back, refresh, right? Click on go. When I click on go, right, it will go to page 1 and you can see go here, right? Now, so when I click on this, it will go to my page 2, right? Don't worry about this because here anyways you have to give page2.jsp, right? So when I click on that, which means now what I'm doing here is I'm just making this page wait. So first I am reading the whole page, and if I want to move to some other page, when I click on it will go to the next page. That is something which we have seen in our anchor element, right? So you can actually use either this part or either or your response. First let us see how we can actually use this response, and then we'll get back to anchor. Let me just cut it out and paste it. So in my page 1, so what I can do here is, okay, so let me just read these parameters and let me just paste it here. Okay. Now as of now, let's not worry about anchor element here. So now so this is how we actually we redirect our page to the next page, which is page2.jsp, right? Now the question is, how can I send parameters, right? Which we have seen something called how we can actually send something called rewrite the URL, right? If you remember that part. So we can use that part in order to send details, whatever we are getting from index.jsp to page 1, you can actually get that and you can actually send it to page 2. How you can actually send it is, so here you just have to use your question mark symbol again, right? And then you can use your same username and password if you want, or if you want to change, you can just change it as user is equal to, and if you want to change password is equal to. Now here these two should be splitted with ampersand. Now in place of user, I have to pass the value of my username. You can see this is username which I'm getting from index to page 1. I want to pass it on the same thing to the next page, and password I'll do the same thing, which is my password. This is how I can actually send directly the data from my index. Anyways, from index I'm actually calling my page 1. When it comes to page 1, it will read the whole query string, it will map it to the variables, and the same variables I'm actually rewriting my URL to my page 2. When I go to my page 2 again, so here I can actually read the data. Now how can I read the data? Again I have to write a scriptlet here. So make it as a string user is equal to request dot get parameter of, you have to give this key because we are actually rewriting the URL, right? So you have to actually give the key related key, and we have a string password is equal to request get parameter of password. So this is how you can read your data, and once this is done, now we have to display the data, right? So you can just say, I can just take one expression here and just say welcome space and just give the username here, user, plus I want to show the password. So let us show the password inside the braces. This is my password. So that's how I'm actually trying to read it from page 2, right? And here you can see that I'm actually using my page 1 object, right? Page 1, I'm using my response implicit object to actually move to the next page, and also to send some details to the next page. Let me run this once. Right, let's go back here. So this is my first page. Let us say I'm giving some username and some password. So 1 2 3. When I click on go, you can see that it directly went to page 2, right? Because we are in index 1, we are not even calling the page 2, right? But when it came to page 2, it again got the same query string. You can see whatever query string we have prepared, like user and password, it passed on to page 2, and we were able to read that, right? So this is how you can actually redirect your page, or you can bypass your JSP by in different ways. Now, what is the use of this? The main use is something, you can use this page as a validation page. Like, let me create one more page here, like JSP. Oops. Let me call it as page 3, right? So let us say this page 3 is login field page, right? So now here what we're going to do is, you can actually write some conditions here, that if user dot equals, let us say if it equals to some ABC, right, and password dot equals to some 1 2 3, then I want to actually go to this response, or else what I'll do, I'll just say response dot send redirect to other resource called page 3.jsp, right? So this is how we can actually use. If everything goes fine, then it will go to page 2, and if the username and password is not the same as expected, then it will directly move to page 3, right? Now let's run this part. So let me recompile the project. Restart the server. So here, so let me give the true one, which is ABC and 1 2 3. Okay, click on go. Now you can see it went to page 2, right? Let's get back to my page 1 again. So let me give some other user and same password maybe, and click on go. Now you can see login failed, right? It went to some other page. So this is how you can actually bypass your page 1, but yes, whatever validations you want to do, you can do. But basically these things we always do it in servlet, right? Because if you want to actually use, you should always use servlet as a controller. Now you can see that page 1 is controlling the flow of different pages, right? If login is passed, then it will go to page 2, where you're actually passing username and password, and if it fails, you are going to some page 3, right? Which means you are actually using page 1 as a controller. So this is one way how we can actually move on with the things. Now here let us see how you can actually use an anchor, right? We have already seen this in servlets. Let us see here. Now I can use the same query string type like this. I can just copy this and paste it here, right? So let me just comment this out for some time. Now here you can see, so when I take this part, so user and password, okay, so this is the question here. My user is equal to this ampersand okay, I'm sorry, you have to use your expression here, right? Because user name is a actual variable we are declaring, so you cannot use this directly, right? That's perfect. And ampersand percentage, you have to use this as a expression again, right? Your password. Right? You have your user ampersand your password. Now whenever you give the user, it will take this user and password this. Let us see whether it works. Reading the project. Please start the server. So now let me give some username, some password. Click on go. Now it will go to page 1. Page 1 you have go here, right? So when I click on go, now you can see user is equal to gives null, right? It is giving null. So here user is equal to username plus, let me just remove this part for some time. Let us say we are just sending the username, right, part, and we'll see what happens here. Clean this. Let's go back to our page again. So here I'll take some username and password. Click on go. You have go here. When I click on go here, I'm getting null. Taking the username, right? Username is value is this. So what's wrong in this? Right. Anyways, let me prepare a string here. String. Just here, let me call it as query. String is equal to. So what I'll do, I'll just say user is equal to and pwd is equal to, let me ampersand it, and here let me take a value of username here and password as password. Okay, so this is my variable, and let me use this variable over here. Instead of giving all this thing, let me just say my JSP close this plus query string. Oh, sorry, you have to use it as an expression, right? There is something which I'm giving. So where my href is this, so which is actually, it is taking some page. Let us see whether it works now. Click on go. Oh, it says null again. Page 2 is here, and I'm preparing my query string.
There is an extra greater than just before go. Would that make any difference?
Yeah, this is something which is for this, right? This is
okay.
Yeah. So is there anything else that I am doing some mistake here, guys? Can you see? Is it a mistake what I am doing? Yes, I am doing the mistake in plus. I should not do. Okay, I am not appending anything, right? So I don't, yeah. Let me just check out once. That's fine. It happens sometimes. Let me just restart. Refresh this up. Okay, give some name, give some password. Go. You have this.
have to concatenate that, right? When it's href is a string, right? So in that case,
I was actually doing this part, right? I was actually concatenating this, or rather.
And then if you concatenate it, then you don't have to close the. I mean, technically not, but.
Yeah, guys, can you
I'm
see
thinking maybe you just have to open and close after the query string.
So can I do this part? Can I just define everything over here and get it like this?
Yeah.
Right? I can do this, right?
Yeah.
I can actually do this part, right? So I've just defined complete page and everything over here, and I've done some href of this. Okay. Let's see how it works. We'll just try to solve this. Okay, perfect. Now maybe it is just taking up some resource thing here, right? Okay, so so now we have got this. Like I just created a complete query string, I mean in a single flow, like directly, and we just gave it to my href, right? Now we are able to get the complete data over here, right? Welcome, the username and all. So this is how you can actually use anchor tag in order to move from one page to other. Now you can see that the difference what we have seen here is when you use response object, right, implicit object, you have to directly move from. Guys, can you just mute up? I think there is some disturbance going on. Sai? Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Okay. Right? So if you respond, right, it won't wait for any trigger here. It will directly take you to the page which you're actually mentioning. But yes, if you actually want to get a confirmation that you want to go to somewhere, right, then you can actually use this. Fine. So this is how actually you can create your response object. So that is your response which we have. Right. So I hope it is clear. Sunita, are you able to join? Can you hear me now, Sunita? Okay, fine. So the next one, which is the config, right, which is servlet config. So this config is also same as what we have seen in servlets, but yes, there is some difference which you have to make over here, right? Hello, Sunita, can you hear me now? Hello?
Yes, enough. But
Okay.
its voice is not very clear, I guess.
Okay, is it clear now? One sec. Yeah, I think it is good. It was just...
No, it's kind of blurry actually. It's
Okay, is that?
Hello?
Hello, can you... So is it...
It's very low. I don't know if it's just me or everybody.
Okay, is it same with all guys? Hello? Sai, Jomi, Ujjwala. So my voice is clear with you guys?
Now it's clear.
It is okay. Yeah, it is clear. There is a little bit disturbance.
Disturbance. Let me
Yeah, now
just...
it's even it's better for me. Srinath.
Okay, fine. Let me just do one thing. Let just be online for 1 minute. Let me just...